Hey, what's good? It goes without saying that the Department of Government Efficiency has ruffled some feathers. But why? Don't we all want the government to be more efficient? Why wasn't there someone making sure things were going as smoothly as possible before the Department of Government Efficiency took over? Well, these people are saying that they were the OGs of government efficiency. Let's find out why DOGE was called at all, and hopefully this video will add clarity. This is, they were the original DOGE, and then Trump fired them, and this is over on the New York Times channel. I'm going to be working on some warm-up sketches before we get into it. Remember to go to coconutjustice.com to get you some clothes that I think would look good on you. Let's go. Yeah, so before we get all the way into this, my stance is I don't have a problem with trying to do away with a lot of the unnecessary bumps in the road when it comes to the government stuff. I don't necessarily argue the fact that we probably need some spring cleaning in the way that we do government, the process of government. But for me, it's more the people that are doing it, why they're doing it. I mean, I know some folks that are, they're over on the red hat side of the argument, and they instantly think that that I'm shit talking everything that Trump does, and it's not necessarily. It's not what he's doing; is how he does it, like the callousness, his inability to empathize with people, the have-nots. That's always been my issue with everyone that says that they know everything about everything, is that they don't. And then they trick normal people into some silliness. So I don't understand why such a good idea as DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, and we all know that that is Elon trying to make Dogecoin and the crypto scene a little bit more in front of your face. So again, but if we're going to be taking a look at efficiency and trying to get rid of waste, I don't understand why. I mean, I understand. I understand why rich people would go to poor people's stuff to take away from poor people. If I had my way, let's say I was president, I would have someone like an Elon who's not quite, holding a fucking chainsaw. When this happened, everyone that was like, "Oh, this is idiocracy." The movie Idiocracy. If you haven't seen it, go watch it, and then you'll see that it's amazing how this compares to that movie. But anyway, we know for a fact there have been people up on charges, and there have been people talking to Congress about anything and everything that has to do with the Department of Defense. There's so much, man. That's a black hole of money. And again, I'm not even saying that I don't want to defund the military. I don't, because we need them. We talk a lot of shit. We need a strong military. But you can't tell me that we can't go down through there and find millions and millions, if not billions of dollars, of just people getting paid off the side or under the table, or, there's a lot of military things that, fall off the truck. So if they were doing this in earnest, if Elon and Trump were actually doing government efficiency in earnest in the proper way, they should have started at the Department of Defense. If it was my choice, I would have started there, and all the money that went there that we found in the Department of the Defense. And that's, I want you to understand, a lot of what Elon is doing goes through the Department of Defense. He gets government funding through the Department of Defense. I'm assuming that's probably why they didn't touch it. But fact still remains, if you really wanted to find money and you really wanted to make all those cuts, you go through the Department of Defense, and all that money, all those penalties, all that stuff, for me, it would have been, or it would be, shoved into education. And I'm not even 100% sure there's a lot of people that are saying we need a federal Department of Education, la la la. Not if it's taking a bunch of resources and a bunch of money. Why am I going to pay a bunch of people to watch and judge books and ban books? Instead, we can just push that money towards education. And now that everything is shaken down, now that we know for a fact that there's a bunch of people in Silicon Valley that are not being hired because they're more expensive than the imports that they're bringing in, that's a lot of smart people. We can take all those people, hire them to be teachers, and to help the teachers that are currently there, we just beef up our education system and actually teach the things that people need to be taught. How to do your taxes, how to write a check. And you won't even need to write a check anymore because they don't even do cursive anymore. But you beef up the education and you get our people. We have to change the culture of this bullying and all this silly shit that's happening, and we need to turn them more into educated people that will improve their community, improve society. We need to change our culture. Pull them up by the bootstraps just isn't working. And as well as whatever silly shit this is that these guys are doing, they're playing you guys for fools. That's what they're doing. They're just doing all this hoopla stuff. Because it's kind of like, again, I've said this in the past. Again, to me, it's like whenever there was civil unrest, they would throw Christians in an arena with lions and stuff, and everybody would be cheering and stuff like that. This is, to me, that's all this silly shit is. Anyway, let's go.
Since starting Doge, Elon Musk has saved taxpayers hundreds of billions.
So the actual savings is around $2 billion, according to budget experts.
So Elon needs help, and we spoke to some people who can help him. Here's how much money they've saved you.
$2 whole billion.
Billion. Well over $10 billion. I think $10.8 billion.
30 billion hard dollars.
$14.5 billion at least.
Hundreds of millions of dollars at NASA.
They might not be 19, and they don't have chainsaws, but these people know a thing or two about saving you money.
We did an audit that was released in October of last year, looking at pricing for spare parts for the C-17, the big transport. We identified one particularly egregious spare part. I believe it was a 7,943% markup on a soap dispenser.
Soap dispensers.
There was this rapper, I think his name was Nuke Bizzle. And Nuke Bizzle, he got so comfortable stealing this unemployment insurance fraud money that he actually went online and did a video.
I just been swiping for EBD. Go to the bank, get a stack at least.
It was the video that led to his capture.
Nuke Bizzle boasted about getting rich.
You guys need to shut the hell up.
Relief funds.
Former Secretary David Shulkin had taken a European trip with his wife. It was essentially a couple of hours of meetings, but the rest of the time they were sightseeing in Europe, as well as getting tickets to the Wimbledon tennis tournament. The government
look at that. How nice.
Trip. So we did the investigation. The secretary had to pay back the value of the Wimbledon tickets, the value of his wife's trip.
Expensive soap, fancy tennis tournaments. You'd think Trump and Musk would be dying to work with these people. Unfortunately, that's not how this story goes.
Obviously not.
Dear Christy.
Dear Larry.
Dear Hannibal.
On behalf of President Donald J. Trump,
I'm writing to inform you
that due to changing priorities,
bye, bitch.
As Inspector General.
Inspector General of Department of Defense
At the United States Agency for International Development.
of the Small Business Administration
Department of Labor.
Veterans Affairs,
Interior
Health and Human Services.
is terminated effective immediately.
Thanks for your
Effective
service.
immediately.
Signed, Trent Morse, Deputy Director, Office of Presidential Personnel.
Welcome.
So,
Welcome.
who are these people, and what exactly do they do?
What inspector generals have done for almost 50 years is not only save taxpayers billions and billions of dollars.
We look for fraud. We look for misconduct. We look for inefficiencies.
Crimes committed against Medicare, against Medicaid.
It's everything from murders to threats.
Against foster care programs, fraud that involved COVID supplies.
Contract fraud to benefits fraud.
We look for that sort of waste all the time.
Over the weekend, President Trump continued his flurry of executive moves,
firing at least 15 inspectors general.
All right, so Trump fired some federal employees.
So they basically had what, 15 people doing what Elon does? But they weren't firing people, they weren't doing all kinds of it wasn't as dramatic as these knuckleheads want. That's what makes me wonder what's the big picture here, because everything that this administration is doing is shock and awe. Everything from grabbing people like me off the streets, people that look like me off the streets. There's people that are expressing their freedom of speech. The same way you idiots climbed at the Capitol looking like a bunch of little monkeys. Same way you guys got to do that, these people get to say whatever it is that they want. It's not that difficult, folks.
Here.
This is not a story of a personal tragedy for Mike Ware, right? What American taxpayers should care about is that
this was a wholesale
removal of 17, 18, 19 inspectors general.
This is historic. This has never been done with this number of IGs that have been fired at one time.
you took away the people who were charged with ensuring that Americans are covered.
Firing IGs puts up an...
And he's passing laws that allow the shady folks to be shady to you guys. He's alleviating those people from their positions, only to make it easier for scoundrels is the only word that's popping in my head right now. But for these guys to get away with tricking you guys out of your money. All these Doge coins, all these meme coins, all that stuff. Look at Haktua girl. She just got let go. She got her charges were waived because what she did was very similar to what the president did. You guys have to be careful. This pyramid scheme stuff. And I'm talking bigger than that. There's a lot of business people. I used to actually work for this guy here in Silicon Valley. We were building software for him. And he did a lot of work with China and within China. And we were building software for, I don't know if this part of the business was part of it, but I saw in the news where my guy was out here. Come to find out, he is building like professional pyramid schemes, and he did time. You have to be careful because they're starting to. This administration is legalizing pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes and Bernie Madoff and all this. You know what I'm saying? And now they're crushing the economy. And I don't have any money, so it doesn't even matter to me. But they're making it legal to do dumb shit that tricks you guys out of your money is what I'm trying to say.
And for business sign to fraudsters.
Administrations come and go.
It didn't make any difference to us who the president was, what the party was.
President Donald Trump appointed me.
President Biden.
President Donald Trump.
President Obama.
The only way that this is done in a fair, unbiased, and impartial way is if inspectors general are allowed to operate in an independent manner, free from political interference.
Who is he putting in our place?
Right.
If he's putting in,
but that's not how it's set up, son.
Folks who are lapdogs, not watchdogs. then their credibility, I think, just goes out the window. The reports will not have the same efficacy, will not have the same impact.
The big deal is that you don't want to burn down the institution that is responsible for ensuring that you have independent oversight and transparency in government.
Collectively, these people have seen it all. Crime, fraud, government inefficiency. Now that they're gone, they have some concerns about the future.
One of the impacts of these terminations is going to be a self-censorship.
I know when I left, there was a report on my desk that was once giving out. It will probably cause some angst. There would be a reluctance across the OIG community, I'm sure, with reports that may have an adverse or a negative impact against that department, because they understand that, you know, this could cause maybe loss of job.
The message is sent that if you do the work that you're intended to do and it's not popular, that you'll be punished.
Because now, if you're an auditor or if you're an investigator, why would you want to write a report that you think may get you fired?
But if you had any doubts, look at what happened to the USAID IG, Paul Martin. Great IG, well respected.
Put out a very tough report about the negative impacts that could occur based on what they were doing to downsize USAID. The report came out on Monday night. Tuesday, he was fired.
This is not exactly how I intended to end my 40-year federal career, but so be it.
And who's gonna be brave enough to speak truth to power?
Yeah.
When speaking truth to power mean you're fired the next day.
President Trump has just announced Elon Musk will lead the Department of Government Efficiency. That's DOGE.
In many ways, these people were the OG DOGE. Here's what they think of Trump's new working group.
My first reaction when I heard of DOGE, I was like, oh, this is not a bad thing at all.
They dovetail with exactly what we do in the Inspector General community. Efficiency is literally in our name. And I said, well, this is great. These are folks that we can work with.
I reached out to DOGE on 4 different occasions.
We were excited to be able to meet with them. That never happened.
Never got a call back.
They're going in and just
Of course
firing
not.
a lot of people. And that is extremely dangerous to do. I was at VA for almost 9 years. I got to know it very, very well.
Oh, don't
That
even
kind
get
of
me started on
experience
VA.
is valuable. And
Don't even get me
almost
started on
impossible,
VA.
if not impossible, just to come in and in a matter.
I have to go to VA for my health care. Everyone at the VA is so scared. Everyone's talking about losing their jobs and stuff like that. What a terrible feeling.
Weeks say, I know the agency and I can make decisions and I know all the implications of those decisions. To me, that's very dangerous.
How much do you believe, Elon, you've identified in waste, fraud, abuse, corruption
now, and how much do you anticipate you will? I think he's going to find $1 trillion. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. If you went to the Department of Defense, that shit would have been easy.
$1 trillion in fraud in the federal government.
Is there bloat? Is there ineffectiveness? Is there inefficiency? Absolutely.
There's no question that there's a lot of fat to trim in the federal government.
But to think that there's $1 trillion worth of fraud, and I'm talking criminal fraud, in any government organization, I just don't think is realistic.
I don't know how that's possible in a matter of 3 or 4 days or a week or 2. It takes anywhere from 9 months to a year to really determine the effectiveness of a program. And that's with the staffs that we have. I can imagine have a team of 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 19-year-olds who don't understand that particular program, how you could do that.
Good luck.
Yeah, 19-year-olds. Not for anything, but those idiots last week just stopped pooping in their pants at 19. Get out of here.
Could stop President Trump.
This is a nakedly illegal action.
So what should we take away from all of this? Will there be more fraud and corruption in America? Or does the firing of the inspectors general symbolize something much, much darker? Is our democracy in danger?
Our democracy is not even in danger, is no longer a democracy.
Well, to be fair, We've been a corporate state for a long time. Corporations pay way more money than you do. So corporations get looked out after. Not you, the people with the money.
Have the freedom to speak truth to power, where independent oversight is no longer a thing, where transparency in government is viewed negatively.
When all measures of accountability, when those checks and balances that the founders put in throughout our structure of government, when those checks and balances start to fail, that to me would send off alarm bells.
I think we're getting close. I think the firing of the IGs was one where the checks and balances didn't work.
I think history is going to frown upon this moment.
I'm worried about the deafening silence that's coming from Congress and many quarters of Congress with respect to the removal of inspector generals, not as individuals, but the harm and the chilling effect this is having on independent oversight in the federal government.
Congress really needs to step up.
Congress needs to do
what
more.
it looks like
And
when
if
crooks
Congress
take
doesn't
over.
step up and tell the administration that they want truly independent, nonpartisan inspectors general, they're going to lose a really valuable tool and resource to help them do their job. And if they're not doing their job to do oversight of the executive branch, then one of our checks and balances is going to fall.
Come on. That's when we know our democracy is in trouble. And I think, quite frankly, that that's where we are currently.
And my problem with it is the folks that are in charge right now, everyone says, oh, yeah, we know that there's a problem with corruption and money going here, money going there, but why aren't you doing anything about it? Why haven't you guys done anything before this wild team of people showed up to do things? You know, like if people are tired of the way that you do things, and then there's someone that comes up and says, nah, we got to do it. We got to shake up the board. And then you get mad. Well, the shake up the board part for me makes sense. Like, let's take a look. Let's make this thing a little more efficient. Again, we walk around the planet talking about how wonderful we are. We got a bunch of crooks running the bus or driving the bus. We need to go through there and clean it up. But unfortunately, there's the majority of the people voted for a crook to do the cleaning up. He's selling everything from bullshit steaks to memberships to the university that got him busted. He was stealing money from nonprofits. He's selling you guys golden sneakers. He's selling crypto shit. A couple years ago, you guys are all talking about how bullshit crypto was. And now all of a sudden, now it's cool. And then just thing after thing, like these inspectors generals and all these folks like getting fired, like that's their job. Their job was to do what the hell Trump is trying to say, and Elon for that matter too. Like all this stuff was taken a look at. To me, I think we need to take a look at, instead of having someone like a Elon or anybody for that matter, we need to take a look at how things are done and set up everyone that works there, set them up for more efficient success. We're talking about antiquated databases, and we're talking about all this technology, and we're talking about passwords and dumb shit. When you work with a bunch of tech people, all of those tech people have so many different softwares and so many different apps that they themselves build to make their life that much more efficient. I used to work with a guy that had this program that would go around scouring the internet for all the new movies, and then it would download the movies onto his server, go and then find all the things, and then I believe that it was like the app would then go to places like Rotten Tomatoes and take a look at the scores for the different movies. And then it would send him an email that says, look at all the movies that we found and this is the ranking. You should watch them. Boom, 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 like this, right? So we have people smart enough to write Facebook and video games and do all that stuff, but yet the government is still tripping over themselves on silly stuff. I don't see why we can't improve the infrastructure of the government so then they can do their job efficiently, and then you can take all of that stuff and somehow, kind of like what DOGE is doing, but without the stupidness that DOGE does, like, oh, nobody bats 1,000%. Like, shut the fuck up. Our money is going into the system and we get no receipts. They're all admitting that that it needs to be improved, but no one wants to improve it. But yet they're going to sell you guys on, we need to build the wall, and we need to build, or we need to bomb Yemen, and we need to do this with the over there, and all the things. Everywhere else we have our hand in the cookie jar, except here at home. We're not doing shit here at home. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our people are uneducated. Everyone's going hungry. Stock market is crashing, so now you guys are going to lose your houses. And no one thinks to improve education. As a matter of fact, they're taking away bits and pieces of education, but they damn sure are having you guys buy expensive ass eggs and Teslas. And you guys want to bitch and complain. This is the original meaning. Right now is the original meaning of woke. You guys are, all you guys are saying, go woke, go broke. All that stuff, you guys are about to learn. Don't go woke. The original meaning of the word woke. That is wake your ass up. Because these rich people are taking you for a ride. Wake up. You guys are going to find out. You guys didn't go woke and you're still broke. You better wake up. You're going to wake up now. You're going to wake up when you can't buy your house anymore, when you can't pay for your house, and one of these rich companies comes in and scoops it up and then rents it back to you. Let's see what happens then. Let's see. Go woke, go broke, yo ass. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with each and every one of your friends. And if you want to come hang out with me, watch videos while I work on creative projects, hit that subscribe button. And then change the little bell so it says all. That way, every time I come out with something new, you'll be alerted. Don't forget to go to coconutjustice.com to get you some dope gear. And with that, I'm out.